I was born to fight, and as long as I draw breath, there will be no end to my purpose. My limits vanish behind the horizon with every step that I take. Only those that wish for an end will find one. For me, it's nothing more than a mirage.
Some die in battle, some are born from it. Behind that bright smile and juvenile behavior is a man who is willing to shed the blood of his foes, a man who dreams of power. The man whose humanity is slowly but surely disappearing from him. The tale of the 11th Harbinger is of a young boy who is slowly losing himself to the art of battle, yet a small hint of his humanity cling onto him desperately as he descends further and further into the abyss. Childe's story shows you that not all monsters are evil, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that his fate is a pleasant one. Welcome to Who is Childe, and why he is known as the man-made weapon. This will be an analysis of his story and what his intentions, character, and potential future may hold. On a side note, I want to focus on the broken philosophy of Tartaglia as a character. Please keep that in mind. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. Let's begin. The name Ajax comes from Greek mythology. Ajax the Greater is known as a hero of great courage in Homer's Iliad, and he is the half-brother of Teucer. Ajax was a mighty hero during the Trojan War. However, after losing a battle with Odysseus, he would go mad with grief. In the end, it was by his own blade that he was killed. Ajax from Genshin Impact was merely a young boy from Respite before he became a Harbinger. A simple boy who enjoyed ice fishing with his father. He and his father would cut holes open upon frozen lakes and tend to their fishing lines. The wait would be long, but in the end it was all worth it. While they would wait, his father would spell stories of unending adventures. Ajax's namesake came from one of his father's tales. The young boy would listen to those tales in awe, secretly envisioning himself as the mighty protagonist. However, such peaceful moments would change. When he was 14, young Ajax dreamt of glory. So he fled his monotonous life with nothing but a short sword and a bag of bread in hand. The 14-year-old boy would soon realize the forest of Sejnaya was not kind to runaways. He was lost, and soon persuaded by bears and wolf packs. As he ran, he lost his footing and fell into a bottomless crack in the earth's surface. There he witnessed the endless possibilities of another ancient world, and there he would meet a mysterious swordswoman, who he would later know as Skirk. Perhaps it was the boy's strong ambition that led the dark realm into the boy's heart. Skirk would teach him the way of the blade, techniques no mortal would understand. She trained him for 3 months, taught him the way of the foul legacy. She taught him how to pass through the abyss unhindered. This would mark the end of his youth and the beginning of his days as a warrior. However, something else festered deep within him. A desire that the abyss only further amplified, because by the time the young boy came home, the young boy had changed. He became confident, hungry, capricious, and cocky. He would seek out battle, and conflict revolved around him like a moth to a flame. His father had seen his third son change, and in a desperate attempt to hone his son's temper, conscripted him into the Fatui. His father had hoped that the Fatui's training would calm his son's lust for battle, yet such an action would only bring more trouble. Pulcinella, the 5th Harbinger, would soon be curious by the development young Ajax was delivering. The 5th Harbinger became curious of just how much trouble seems to stir with this young man. Ajax, under the pretext of punishment, was soon inducted into the Fatui. Soon he would rise above his peers, slashing and hacking at those who dare stand in his way. And thus begins the tale of the 11th Harbinger, Tartaglia. Codename? Childe. There are 2 aspects of Tartaglia that I think need to be spoken about: Childe and Ajax. While it would normally be disrespectful to talk about him like he's 2 different personalities, I simply want to show you that there is such a contrast in his character that we just cannot ignore. So, let's begin with Childe. Hidden behind the happy exterior is a man who lusts for battle. Childe himself is an entity of the battlefield, not only powerful, but also cunning, deceptive, and rather perceptive, as we've seen with him guessing that Scaramouche would hide somewhere in a place filled with paper dolls and puppets. While he tells the traveler that he isn't as mischievous as the other Harbingers, from what we know, that might not be the case. His methods in the Liyue Archon quest were very questionable up until the end, where he's been acting civil towards us and claiming that there are no hard feelings. While he claims that he doesn't want to be as underhanded as his superiors, he still does exhibit the slyness as someone like Scaramouche or pride as someone like Senora. He's honest, yes, but the criteria isn't really that high. However, Childe is a man of his word. He takes it upon himself to never break a promise. And the difference he has with his peers is that he's more forward in battle. Childe himself shares a strong philosophy when it comes to the battlefield. He's forward and honors a good fight. Childe is a warrior before he is a harbinger, and that's a key difference that makes him stand out from the rest. He holds those that are willing to die in battle with an air of importance. He treats the traveler like a proper rival and respects that the traveler too is always trying to get stronger. He doesn't belittle new recruits and is civil to those that deserve respect. He understands that if you're a member of the Fatui, you're strong, and that much he can observe. It's that crucial honor code that Childe upholds that makes him the traveler's comrade, and he respects those that follow such honor codes in battle. However, Childe also sees himself as a weapon. Childe has been seen to be cruel, willing to drown a whole nation if it meant furthering the goals of the Fatui. A part of me even believes that he hardly sees himself as human, but rather a tool for the Tsaritsa to use to further her goals. The admiration he holds for her is almost frightening. And we see just to the extent of his apathy that he agrees that he's just an instrument of war.
Besides, is being used as a weapon really that bad? All those who stalk the battlefield yearn for meaning and value. You were interested in my secret, right? Why is it that I'm able to withstand the resistance of the domain? Why is it that I'm able to face down complex battles with ease? Let go of your confusion. Sorrow and hesitation are the enemy of an implacable weapon. It is not victory that I seek, but improvement. I want to become sharp as a blade, to the point where others fear me. You're not the only weapon here, Shiki Taisho.
However, the man behind the Fatui insignia is a man who cherishes his family. A man who believes that sheltering the ambitions of the young and ignorant are a necessity. Ajax will forever hold the happiness and safety of his siblings to a high extent. Ajax is a man of consideration, one who understands that with age and experience, a person grows. The old fantasies of the past stay as fantasies, and that the real world is not as nice. Ajax writes to his family constantly during his travels. He holds the memories he created with people to high importance. His relationship with the traveler, though strained, is one of camaraderie. But now, I want to introduce a more important question. What will happen to Tartaglia in the future? Tartaglia is one of the most important characters in the Archon quests to come. While it is a joke that he is Mr. Worldwide, there is a good reason that his original home is in Snezhnaya, one of the final nations, but we've been seeing him everywhere. MiHoYo is setting him up as a recurring character. However, I don't think the reasons for this are benevolent. I believe that the further we go along our path, the more we find Tartaglia slowly succumbing to the effects of both the abyss and the delusion. Tartaglia is a ticking time bomb, whose body is being constantly exerted to different forms of physical strain. One is from the delusion constantly eating at his life force, and two is the abyssal energy of his foul legacy taking a strain on both his body and his psyche. We need to understand that just because he appears chipper doesn't mean that his psychology hasn't already taken a toll. The effects of the abyss corruption were immediate for 3 Teyvatian days, as noted in his character story. Therefore, I believe that in the future, we'll see him gradually lose himself. His ideals of becoming a weapon are already a red flag of his inevitable demise into losing his humanity. And if the last gripes of his sanity are his siblings, it isn't impossible that the Fatui could force him to cut ties with the last people he cares about, just to mold him into the perfect weapon. We also know that he is capable of traversing the abyss unhindered, and knowing Tartaglia, he wouldn't pass up the opportunity to keep training his abyssal energy. Some might try to justify his descent into maddening ambition as an honorable way to go, that he wants to protect his family and friends, but we cannot deny that what he is essentially a raw killing machine. Tartaglia has stated himself that he lives and thrives on the glory of battle. We should never excuse what he did to Liyue and what he could do in the future. Tartaglia is a character of many complexities and layers that cannot and should not be defined as just evil and good. And I think that's what makes him a compelling character. But I believe that he'll meet his end in the future, either by losing his family or losing himself. Maybe he will live up to his namesake, Ajax, the great warrior who lost himself to his own grief.